Title: The door I refused to open. When protecting my children meant becoming the villain. When my ex-husband knocked on my door that Sunday morning, I didn't even have to look through the peephole to know it was him. The air changed. Thick, heavy, like the silence before a thunderstorm. My youngest son, Noah, froze mid-step, clutching his toy truck, while my daughter, Emma, glanced at me, her eyes wide and uncertain. It had been 2 years since I'd seen that face. 2 years since I'd watched him drive away after signing the divorce papers, promising he'd get his life together before coming back for the kids. He didn't. Instead, he disappeared into his own chaos. New women, old habits, and endless excuses. Now, here he was, standing on my porch like time hadn't passed at all. "Can I see them?" he asked. His voice was softer than I remembered, maybe even rehearsed. "Just for a bit. I'm clean now. I've changed." But I could still see it. That flicker behind his eyes. The same look he had when he used to lie about where he'd been, about the money, about her. I didn't open the door. When we met, I thought he was my forever. He was charming, magnetic, the kind of man who made everyone laugh and made you feel like you were the only one in the room. But beneath that charm was a darkness I didn't notice until it was too late. It started with late nights at work, then mysterious phone calls, then missing money. Then one night, he simply didn't come home. I found out later, through a friend's friend, that had been seeing someone else for months. A woman from his gym. She was everything I wasn't at that point. Carefree, spontaneous, unburdened by 2 kids and a mortgage. When I confronted him, he didn't even deny it. He just said, "You changed. You became someone else after the kids." I wanted to scream that he changed first, that love doesn't survive betrayal untouched. But instead, I packed his things, handed him the keys, and told him I hoped he found whatever he was looking for. He left, and for months he didn't call. Didn't ask about Emma's school recital or Noah's birthday. He didn't even know when Noah broke his arm last winter. Then suddenly, now that his life had stabilized, he wanted back in. My mom said I should give him a chance. Kids need their father, she told me. But what kind of father forgets to call on Christmas? What kind of father sends $50 in a crumpled envelope for child support after half a year? When he showed up again, I couldn't help but think, it wasn't guilt that brought him here. It was loneliness. He told me he was sober now, that he wanted to make amends, that he wanted to be a family again. But when I said no, when I told him he couldn't just walk in and out of our kids' lives like flipping a light switch, his face twisted. "You're cruel," he said. "You're punishing me for something I've already paid for." I told him that forgiveness and access were 2 different things, that the kids had found peace, routine, and safety. And I wasn't about to let him undo that just because he suddenly felt guilty. He laughed, a cold, bitter laugh that still echoes in my head. "You always were heartless," he said, "even when we were together." Then he left again, but he didn't stop there. He called my parents, my friends, even showed up at Emma's school once pretending it was an accident. I filed a restraining order. He fought it, said I was poisoning the kids against him, that I was bitter, that I was a liar, and maybe, in his version of the story, I am the villain, the mother who slammed the door on redemption, the woman who wouldn't let a father see his children. But what he'll never understand is that the hardest part of this isn't keeping him out. It's knowing that, deep down, the kids still miss him. That every now and then, when Noah draws our family, he still includes a tall stick figure labeled Dad. Emma's old enough now to ask questions I can't answer. "Why can't Dad come see us?" she asked once, tears filling her eyes. And I told her the only truth I could bear to say, because sometimes, love isn't enough to keep us safe. Last week, I got another letter from him. He says he's doing well. Steady job, therapy. Clean for a year. He asked if we could meet as adults. No pressure, no promises. The letter ended with a single line. "I just want to know if there's still a chance for me to be their father." I haven't replied. Maybe I never will. Because sometimes the deepest betrayal isn't what someone does to you. It's how easily they make you question your own strength for walking away. Part 2. The return. The letter burned a hole in my kitchen drawer for days. I told myself I wouldn't open it again, that I'd already made my decision. But every time I passed that drawer, it felt like his presence was still there, whispering, "You owe me a chance." Maybe it was curiosity, maybe guilt. But one night, after the kids went to bed, I unfolded the letter again. His handwriting was neater than I remembered. almost too careful, like he wanted to prove something. I've changed, Melissa. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just want to be part of their lives again, even if it's just a phone call. I'm not the man who hurt you. I wanted to believe him. God, I did. But I'd believed him before. When he promised he'd stop drinking, when he said the other woman didn't mean anything, when he swore he'd never miss another birthday, each promise had turned into another scar. Still, that night, I dreamed of him. Not the man who broke me, but the man who once made pancakes in the shape of hearts for Emma and Noah, who used to dance with me in the kitchen while the kids laughed. The next morning, I found myself dialing the number at the bottom of the letter. He sounded different, calmer, almost humble. "Melissa," he said softly, "I didn't think you'd call." We talked for almost an hour. About the kids, about work, about nothing and everything. For a moment, it felt normal. When I hung up, I hated myself for smiling. That night, I told myself it was just a conversation. Not forgiveness, just closure. But closure doesn't call back the next day. Closure doesn't send pictures of a rehab certificate or stories about a new job. He asked if he could send gifts for the kids, a book for Emma, a toy truck for Noah. I said no at first, but when he said they deserve to know I'm trying, I hesitated. The packages arrived a week later, neatly wrapped. No notes, just care. The kids lit up. "Mom, look." Daddy remembered my favorite color. Noah said. I didn't have the heart to tell him it was a lucky guess. Weeks passed. His calls became more frequent. I told myself it was okay. Control. Boundaries. But boundaries are fragile things when emotions get involved. One night, after the kids went to bed, he said something that made my stomach drop. "I miss us, Mel. The way we were." I froze. "Don't do that," I said quietly. "I'm not asking for you back," he said, his voice trembling just enough to sound sincere. "But I can't stop thinking about how everything went wrong. I was angry, lost. I hurt you, and I can't forgive myself. You were the only thing that made sense." I didn't reply. But when I hung up, my hands were shaking, because a small, traitorous part of me wanted to believe that maybe, just maybe, people can change. Then the text came. It was a picture of him outside Noah's school. Just wanted to see him. Didn't talk to him, I swear. "I miss my son." My heart nearly stopped. I called him immediately. "What the hell were you thinking?" I snapped. "I just wanted to see him," he said, his tone breaking. "You won't let me near them. You won't talk to me about visits. I just needed to see him." "That's not your decision," I shouted. "You scared him. You scared me. I'm his father." He roared back. "You can't erase me." That night, I barely slept. I watched the street from my window, waiting for headlights that never came. A few days later, Emma found a letter in the mailbox. No stamp, no envelope, just her name. Inside was a handwritten note. "Daddy misses you. Mommy's keeping us apart, but he'll fix it soon. I promise." She showed it to me at breakfast, confused. "Mommy, why does Daddy say you're keeping us apart?" Something in me broke. I called my lawyer that afternoon, filed to reinforce the restraining order. I told him that if he came near us again, I'd press charges. His response was short. One final message that still chills me when I think of it. "You can keep them away from me, but you can't keep them from the truth." 2 months later, a woman showed up at my door. She looked exhausted, her eyes red from crying. "Are you Melissa?" she asked. I nodded cautiously. "I'm Laura," she said, "your ex-husband's girlfriend." My stomach twisted. "I don't want to cause trouble," she said, "but you need to know what has been saying. He told me you're mentally unstable, that you made up stories about him to keep his kids away. He showed me court papers, said you're dangerous." She handed me her phone. There were messages, lies, manipulation. The same web had spun years ago. Only this time, someone else was caught in it. That night, I cried for hours. Not because I missed him, but because I finally understood that the man I'd once loved didn't just destroy relationships, he infected them. When people ask me now why I won't let him see the kids, I don't explain anymore. I don't owe the world an apology for protecting my children. Emma and Noah are safe, happy, healing. That's what matters. But every so often, when the house is quiet and the kids are asleep, I look at that drawer again. The one where his first letter still lies, unopened now for months. Sometimes I think about burning it. Other times I think about keeping it, as proof that even love, once poisoned by betrayal, never really dies. It just hardens into something else. Something like resolve. Part 3. The sun's truth time is strange. It doesn't erase pain. it just teaches you to live around it. It's been 11 years since that day on the porch when I refused to open the door to my ex-husband. 11 years of silence, court papers, and learning to rebuild a family from the wreckage of betrayal. Emma is 17 now. Noah just turned 15. They've grown into good kids. Smart, kind, and stronger than I ever was at their age. But no amount of love or stability can fully erase the shadows left behind by a father who vanished. I thought I had done everything right. Therapy, honesty, openness, all of it. I never badmouthed their father. I just never talked about him at all. I thought protecting them meant quietly rewriting history. But the past doesn't stay buried forever. Sometimes it finds you again, wearing the voice of your own child. It started on a rainy Thursday evening. Noah came home from school later than usual. His hoodie was soaked, his backpack torn at the corner. He didn't say a word during dinner, not even when Emma teased him about forgetting his math homework again. When I asked if something was wrong, he just shrugged. Nothing, just tired. But later that night, as I passed his room, I heard his voice, low, angry, trembling. "No, you don't get it," he hissed into the phone. "She lied to me. She lied to both of us." I froze. My heart knew before my mind did. There was only one person who could twist the truth like that. I waited until the call ended before knocking softly on his door. He didn't answer. "Noah?" I whispered. "Can we talk?" The door opened just enough for me to see his face. Red, tear-streaked, furious. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" he asked. I blinked. "Tell you what? That Dad tried to see us. That he wanted to be in our lives. You made it sound like he didn't care, but he did. I found his messages. I read them, Mom." My stomach dropped. "What messages?" He turned his phone toward me. There they were. Dozens of screenshots from old emails. My ex's words twisted and filtered through the lens of his own manipulation. "I've tried to see you, Noah, but your mom won't let me. She's angry with me, but it's not your fault. I'll always love you even if she keeps us apart." Each one cut deeper than the last. "Noah," I said carefully, "you have to understand. Your father wasn't safe. I wasn't keeping you from him out of anger. I was keeping you safe." But he wasn't listening. His eyes blazed with betrayal. "You always said you'd never lie to me," he said quietly. "You said we could handle the truth, but you didn't even give us a choice." And just like that, I saw it. The wall I'd spent years building cracked wide open. He started spending more time in his room. More silence, more distance. Emma tried to help, but he shut her out too. Then, one Saturday morning, I found his bed empty. His phone gone. I called everyone. His friends, Emma's friends, even the police when hours passed with no word. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt to breathe. At 9 p.m., a knock came at the door. It wasn't Noah. It was him, my ex-husband, standing there, his hair grayer, his eyes sharper, wearing a smug, satisfied smile. "Before you say anything," he said, "Noah's fine. He came to see me." I froze. You what?" He shrugged as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "He called me last week. He said he wanted to hear my side of things. I didn't reach out to him. He reached out to me." My hands were shaking. "Where is he?" "With me," he said calmly. "He's safe. He just needed a few days to think." "You can't control him forever, Melissa. He's old enough to make his own choices." That was when I realized this wasn't about reconciliation. This was revenge. The next 48 hours were hell. Noah refused to answer my calls. He texted Emma once, "I'm fine. Stop worrying." When he finally came home, he looked different, cold, detached. He barely spoke to me for days, except to say, "I think I want to live with Dad for a while." My heart cracked in two. "Noah, please, you don't know what he's like now." "I do," he said. "You don't." He left that weekend. For 6 months, I only saw him once. He came by to pick up clothes and some books. He didn't look happy, just tired. Then, one night, I got a call from the police. There'd been an incident. A fight between Noah and his father. Nothing too serious. Just shouting, pushing. But the officer's words still made my blood run cold. "Your son says he wants to come home." When Noah walked back through that same front door, he didn't say a word. He just hugged me, tight, shaking, crying. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "You were right. He's not who I thought he was." I wanted to tell him it was okay, that he didn't have to apologize. But the truth was, the damage was done. Betrayal, I've learned, doesn't always come from lovers. Sometimes it's the heartbreak of realizing your own child stopped trusting you, even for a moment, because someone else twisted your love into control. Now, years later, Noah's gone to college. Emma's engaged. We're all doing better. But every time I look at that front door, I remember two knocks. One from the man who destroyed me, and another from the boy who almost believed him. And sometimes, late at night, I still hear echoes of Noah's voice. You said you'd never lie to me. And I wonder, maybe I didn't. But I did keep the truth hidden behind fear. And maybe that's its own kind of betrayal.